everybody, welcome to another video. In this video, it's going to be a shorter video, just going to do some touch-ups, and I'll walk you through real quick what we're going to do on those. When you text your OSB, the way that we did in here, if you guys watched the last video, OSB is a strand board that is like, let's just say chips of board. I wish I had a piece I could show you. I guess I can. We'll go out here in the living room. Actually, we might be able to go right here. Yeah, that's not really good. Okay, let's go out here and look. And as you can see, go right here. Okay, see like that right there? That's a chip of a board. Each one of these is strand board that is put in there different ways. And each one of these, once they get wet with texturing, could allow the glue to let go and it to pop out. And I'll show you back into here what I mean by that. And that is here. Get you down here on the subject. You can see right here. Now, if you watch, let me get something to push in there. We'll just take this flat bladed screwdriver right here. Now watch, if I put that in there, see how that just flakes right back off? Now there's the whole piece. Now what I would recommend you doing is go around it and cut it with a razor blade knife, because this could actually end up going way farther than you want it to. But that there turned out pretty decent. So we got that one that we got to fix. One down below it, right there, that we got to fix. And then we'll go around it and we'll kind of strategically look. And then I did notice, like up here, on top of this, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I'm not liking the way that it turned out. So I'm going to retexture that. And you can see the corners have got cracks. I don't know how well that'll show up. That will actually cover with paint, but I'll go ahead and fix it. Then we're also going to take something and smooth these edges off both ways, front side and side to side. And then looks like we got a pretty bad crack right here in the wall itself. Once again, paint would probably cover that, but I'm not taking a chance. So we just got a little bit of touch up to do in here. Maybe 10 minutes worth of work at the most. So I'll take you out here and I'll show you the next thing. The next thing is the door. So the door doesn't have a latch on it or anything. So, but if you look up here in this corner, if you start down at the bottom, we're looking at the light gap. See the light gap right here? So if you look down there, yeah, it's pretty well non-existent down there. But it's good enough. But we are going to put another screw in the bottom. But going up, it just gets wider and wider and wider and wider up to the top until it gets almost wide enough to stick my little finger in. So we're going to straighten that up. And then over here, you can see a decent gap all the way until you get to about right here, and then boom, there's no gap. And it's pushing the door that way. So we'll need to start with this side, so then we'll know what our true gap is. But once we get all that, it'll be pretty good. So those are just some minor things that we're going to work on today. And like I said, it won't be an extremely long video, but doing these things gets me on to the next step, the next process in this build. Excuse me. So we'll get all that done, and we'll get ready to move on. So don't go anywhere. All right, let's see what we got to do here. I can see there's a shim in there. Let me start by taking that out. That was easy. Now, let's grab a couple screws and put a couple screws in there. I did go, if you guys watched the other video, you've seen that my Milwaukee broke in half. I did go buy me a new DeWalt. There'll be a box opening and a review coming up on this. But I want to use it a little bit. I think I'm going to clean this gap out in here. I've already put texture in there. Oh, let's see. If I'd stop laying tools down and not figuring out where I laid them down at. Ah, there was another shim in there. That's what it was. All right, let's try that. I think I need a couple more screws. If you guys hear, Ricky's outside weed eating, and it's pretty much dark. That drew it in good. Now I gotta find the hammer. Alright. Let's shut that and see what that does. Oh, that looks a lot better. A whole lot better. Now I think over here, well, we can see this over here now. I don't know how well that's showing up, but there's plenty of gap in there. I can take a pencil and put in there. So that's a good gap. It's fairly uniform. Still needs to go over that way just a smidge, but I can't because of the wall. There's some kind of bug crawling on the wall. What kind of bug is that? Weird looking. Alright, so now let's go. I've been taking screws out of this. let's figure out where we want this to be. Let me bring you guys over here so you can kind of see. Oh, that's a little too much. That right there would be about perfect. Yeah, that right there would be about perfect. Let me see if I can find some shims. Alright, I did find some shims, but I got this little sliver of a board. Yeah, that's too wide, so we won't be using that. We'll see if one shim is enough to make it what we need. And I do believe it is. So we'll go ahead and we'll put one shim in. We'll run it flush. Right there. Now, before we run it any farther, this is going to be my straightening up shim. So as you can see on a shim, it goes from thick to thin. Well, if you're using this much of it, this side is going to be thick, this side is going to be thin. So we'll keep our wall straight by running one in here. We'll tighten that screw up where it countersinks. And it's not wanting to countersink. Let me grab a longer screw. So I went in a little too far, and then I'm going to back it out. Where it's still flush. Now we'll check that. Make sure that that's about where we want it. It could stand to be a little less, but I think we're going to stick with it. And just put some shims down in through here. That looks beautiful. That looks, yeah, that's a little too much. Let's try right there. That looks good. So now we'll go ahead and put some screws in there. I'm putting the shims right, or the screws right through my shims. Now we'll check it one more time. It looks good. I think I want to put a screw in between each one. Once again, I put them in too far, and then I back them back out. And what that does is it goes ahead and countersinks my screw, so it doesn't stick out through my texturing. So I go in too far until it's countersunk, and then I come back out just a little bit. That looks really good. Got a little bit down here I want to widen, but I'm going to go ahead and cut these shims off. Now, as far as cutting these shims off, which I'll come back up the door, take our razor blade knife, and score it about 3 times right up flush with the wall. And then pop them right off. Same way over here. And I'm putting a pretty decent amount of pressure on that. And pop them right off. And then they're just actually cut through it all. And so did that one. This one over here got a little bit of a, there we go. Now I think that's good. Oh, got some shims up here. I always try to keep my extra pieces of shims because you just never know where you might need them. I'm happy with that. I want to get down here at the bottom and I can see where the screw is in. So I'm just going to first start by loosening up the screw, seeing if I can change the way that it works. But I need a screwdriver. There we go. That might actually have done it right there. Close it and take a look at it. Yes, that is exactly what I wanted right there. So, I'll take a shim again. I'll stick that shim in, and I'm using one of the partial shims. I'll go right in there where my screw is. And I'll go ahead and put that shim in. There we go. Before I cut that shim off, I will check it one more time. A lot of opening and shutting, but it's worth it. Oop. My screwdriver was in the way. And that, to me, right there looks about perfect. That's a good gap all the way down. I will make sure that the door hinges are tight. Like that. That right there I think will be perfect. And you can see, you know, we took the gap away from the door in this jamb, from the jamb up to the wall, which all that'll be filled. Alright, now I cut my shims off. Alright, now that door is ready to be textured around, which I'll bring you guys in here and show you the texturing that we got to do now, which is okay. This is why we want to do it in this stage. See the gap? What looks like a crack? I will take a second and get as much of that out of there like that as I can. And then we'll retexture this right in through here. This looks worse than what it is because this is where the original door was. Remember, this all used to be a porch, and they had cut into the wood severely. So that's more of a gap than what it normally would be. But we can fill all that. So with that being said, let's get our hands dirty with some texturing. All right, let's get some texturing in there. And we'll have to do it backwards. We want to pack it in there pretty good. Normally I'd use my hand to do all this, and I'd probably honestly already be done. But I'm trying to stay halfway clean so I can work the camera. Well, it's not sticking in there very good. I'm going to have to use my hand. That's the only way that there is to it. See how much easier that is with your hand? Because the hand, you can tell how much you're putting in there. We'll just try to keep one hand clean. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down to the floor. And while I'm here, I'll go ahead and redo the top of this. I think I'm going to have to move you guys. And then I'm going to go right over here and get in your way. Then we'll go down straight, but follow the back curve of the wall. And I think that'll do it once I texture it. Now we're going to do this seam right here. And I'm getting ready to go ahead and get my other hand dirty. So that's the way it's got to go. Now I'm texturing what I just put on from both sides. Go ahead and just put a little bit in this corner. Like I said, paint will fill that in, but I can do it just as easy with texturing right now. And I don't have to worry about remembering to fill it in with paint. That makes it pretty nice. And just like that, that's filled in. We'll go up here and do this little bit of a top. There we go. It's just all the little detail work like this. It doesn't take long. It feels like it does, but if you actually go back and figure out how long all this is going to take me, it's going to maybe have taken me 15 minutes. Let's just say 30. It's going to take me 30 minutes, and when I'm done, this is detail work. This is all the stuff that will just show perfect once you paint. You know, they say it's the devil's in the detail, and that's what it is here too. You know, it's all in that detail. I have a little bit more to do down here that I got to get down on the floor to do, and then let's go ahead and show you guys while I got you here. Remember how we peeled those off? Let's go ahead and I'm going to show you a couple ways to do this. Alright, for one, let's just start with a putty knife. Any size you want. Put a little bit of dab on there and then come straight up. See how that hid that? Okay, but now you have to texture it. So that's when you want to just take and kind of look at your pattern marks around it. See, I've got to let that dry just a little bit before I start trying to texture it. Alright, we're going to let that dry just a little bit before we try to texture it, because if not, it's sinking back in the corner. Alright, we'll go ahead and go down here and do this little part of this wall. And I can texture this because this is just a crack. There we go. Once that dries, you'll never be able to see that. And that is basically all that I've got to do in here, other than knock some edges down. But I got to clean my hands first. So hopefully I can turn this thing on pause with a halfway clean knuckle. Let's try that one. That looks cleanest. Alright, so another thing that I wanted to show you guys was your edges. To make them not sharp and to look correct. Normally I use a sanding block. Like a sanding sponge. I get them that are about this long, and then I'll cut that much off of it once they get old. But you can take a piece of wood. This is a stir stick from Lowe's, and you can just run it down the edge. Just like that. But now, when you do that, you also want to come out here and do the outer edge. Once again, this is just details. You know, same way up here. And then inside, of course we've got to watch because a little bit of that's wet. So we're not dragging hard. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and do this edge. And quite a little bit of build up on that one right there. These are more details. I'm going to go ahead and put my tools up so I don't have to lay them back there. And there you go. That's it. I see a little bit of detail work to do in here. And I can do it all with this little board. That was still wet right there. So now I got to retexture that. There we go. And that's it. Right here around the plug, I'll just get rid of some big bumps. Some of my edges, or corners I guess I should call them. Alright, I got to texture this over here. In this corner. And it's still just a little too wet. Yeah, it's still just a little too wet. So I'm going to add some texturing over here. As you can see, we're kind of split out up there where we adjusted that. And then put some more texture where I just messed it up. I don't even have to texture this today. I can let this dry until the next time I come in to do something and then texture. Same way on my wall. Alright, so now, I go out here and get a rag so I can wipe my hands off. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to let these dry, and it's very, very, very humid out, which means it ain't going to dry very well. I am, however, going to go get a paintbrush, a new paintbrush. I buy them little cheap dollar store ones, and I'll show you why here in just a second. This is also what I paint with, but this is new. And I'm going to get all the dust and little debris and everything out of the bottom of this. So it's not laying there when I do paint. Not that I'm going to paint anytime soon. But I see what piece of wood just works so good. Now we'll do that again. And that's it. Now I'll have to come back in here tomorrow and texture over top of what I've already done. See, if you just spend a little bit of time, things that you can see now, once you've painted, you really can't change. But if you catch them now, you can. You see now, I just took that edge from something I didn't like down to now perfect. So now I'm happy with that edge. That corner over there, over there, you guys can't see because of the brush. I'll go put the brush out. That corner doesn't look the best in the world, but it also doesn't look the worst at all. And that's going to be in a closet. So I'm not really that worried about that corner. I've got all the other corners where I'm very happy with them. I can tell you from, let's move out here. I can tell you from past experiences that I'm very critical of my own work, especially years after it's been done. Like, say, in the tiny trailer. I can sit on the couch, on the right-hand corner, where I always sit, where we do the live streams, and I can see things I'm not happy with. It's not horrible, it's just, oops, I got a little bit of a pattern there, or what did I do? Did I sneeze and rub my hand the wrong way on that side? I'm always critical of my own work. So I do try to take 30 minutes or so to go back through each room and just kind of get a different perspective of each area in the room and just do the fine work that I can. I know in my bedroom, I can look up on the ceiling and I can see two little blemishes that were, I was going this way and then all of a sudden I switched the other way too fast and it caused a little bit of a weird mark. I'd like to get rid of all that in here if I can. Alright, so anyways, if you guys like these kind of videos, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, like and subscribe. Once you've subscribed, smash that bell notification, go all the way up to the top and click all so you'll be notified on every single video or live stream that we publish or post. Let's see, follow us on Facebook under General Vlog Video. Please share us on your social media pages. It helps so much. That really gets us out there. Commenting down below and giving us a thumbs up really helps us keep us in the algorithm of YouTube. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a great day and even better tomorrow and an awesome night. And we'll see you on the next live stream or the next video. Please, please, please be safe. And don't forget, I may be getting the little spine things done, but I'm still my own cameraman, which means I got to get up close and personal and gently poke you guys in the ear to turn this thing off. With all that being said, please be safe. See you on the next video or the next live stream.